Hey, welcome to another episode of History Hunters. I'm here at the Forest Glen Memorial Park in Hollywood Hills once again. I was here 3 months ago, and I was astounded at the number of celebrity graves that I missed. But, you know, you could probably spend a whole month here and not cover everybody that you need to find. And then finding graves itself is a rather difficult task. But I have a list, and we're going to try to find all those graves on this visit. So join me. Thanks. If you buy flowers for graves in this cemetery, there's a good chance they'll be devoured by this fearless buck, which I spotted at the beginning of the cemetery visit. So the first grave that I'm going to have to find is that of Jack Webb. He's down in this area right here. Jack Webb, look how I found it. Man, I used to listen to this guy a lot. 1920 to 1982. Wow. This is the city, Los Angeles, California.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
TV actor, director, and producer Jack Webb is best known for creating and starring in the TV series Dragnet that ran from 1951 to 59 and then 67 to 70. Webb is known for his calm, methodical delivery as the no-nonsense detective Joe Friday. Webb also produced and directed Adam 12 and Emergency. So I have to share that when I was a kid, I was in junior high or equivalent of maybe 6th grade. My friends and I would watch Dragnet, and we would pretend that we were cops and arresting people. I had these fake badges, and we learned the Miranda rights. So we would give our arrested students some Miranda rights, and I think I got in trouble one time for it. So I found the grave of William J. Cody. Now, this is not William Buffalo Bill Cody, but as the actor, William J. Cody, he basically got into films in 1934, and he appeared in about 18 movies, mostly supplementing other major characters like Nelson Eddy. And after he entered World War II service, he quit films altogether. So he's here at rest with his wife, Elizabeth Cody. Now I'm going to find another grave. This gentleman I met a long time ago when I was a kid. So I have some fond remembrances of that occasion. It was a celebrity golf tournament.
Way up in the mountains, many miles from here, there's a little cabin that to me is dear. Fishing in the summer, hunting in the fall. It's a hummer any time at all.
Shug Fisher was a singer in his early years. In fact, you're hearing a recording of his with the Ranchman Trio in the 1940s. He also was a member of the Sons of the Pioneers. He was particularly recognized for his portrayal of comic sidekicks, often playing country bumpkins. I knew him from his role as Hank on the Beverly Hillbillies.
You remember that proposal note I put under Granny's door? Well, I meant to put it under Ellie's door. I thought of marrying Granny scared me so bad I took off like a scalded dog.
Fisher appeared in over 60 movies and was a frequent character on both the Roy Rogers and the Gene Autry shows. Mr. Fisher is buried here at my feet. He's got a view of the Warner Brothers lot over here, which I think is pretty cool. But when I think about him, I think about some good times as a boy. I think that's when my interest developed to enjoying being around celebrities. Now, I did find the grave of Edgar Buchanan. He was one of my favorites. He was actually in the movie Shane. And on one occasion, Sarah and I went to the location where they did a funeral scene, a cemetery scene in that movie, and Edgar Buchanan was in that. And here he is, so many miles away from that Wyoming setting. Edgar Buchanan, 1903 to 1979. Oh, but to have known you was an honor. You will be sorely missed, but always held in our loving memory. Thanks, Pop, for all the joy you brought. Mother and me, thanks for the joy brought to your many devoted fans. From your loving family, Millie and Bucky, April 5th, 1979. Edgar Buchanan was a dentist before transitioning to acting in the 1930s. He was known for his roles in film and TV, particularly in Western and comedies. With his distinctive voice and friendly folksy charm, Buchanan became a familiar face in over 100 films over 4 decades, often playing good-natured sidekicks or authority figures. He gained lasting fame on the TV series Petticoat Junction that ran from 1963 to 1970 as Uncle Joe Carson.
Petticoat Junction.
And that's Uncle Joe, he's a moving kind of slow at the junction.
Girls, if we're going to run a tight ship while your mother's away, we've got to get on the ball.
Uncle Joe, it was agreed that turning the mattresses was your job.
Oh, yeah. Well, that can wait. We turned them a couple of months ago. There's no use wearing them out.
Man, Edgar is a hike up here, and I thought that these guys working on a grave were parked over his grave marker, but that wasn't the case. But man, he's far up the hill. Now, Ricky Nelson's over in that area. We did a video on him earlier. I just spent the last several minutes trying to pull the weeds off of this marker. Almost missed it. John Carroll, the actor, appeared in a lot of movies in the 40s, and he was a captain in the Army during World War II, so he's, in my opinion, a war hero. Known for his suave leading man charm, Carroll appeared in over 50 films from the 1930s to the 1960s, often in romantic or dramatic roles. His early career saw him starring in films like Trade Winds, 1938, and The Duke of West Point, 1942. Carroll also had a notable TV career, including appearances in the TV series The Life and Legend of Wyatt Earp. As I have typically said, behind every great man is a great woman. Buried next to him is his wife, Lucille Ryman Carroll. Says she was an extraordinary lady of unparalleled strength, style, and grace. Just finished coming up from John Carroll's grave, and quite a hike up here. You would not believe the amount of effort it takes in 80-degree weather to go up hills. At the age of 64, you might hear my heart pounding. Wow. So I do have to say this is probably one of the prettiest cemeteries I've ever visited. They do it very nicely, and it occupies the hillside, rolling hills, but also the way they value history. Look at this exhibit of Abraham Lincoln. The legitimate object of government is to do for the people what needs to be done, but which they cannot by individual effort do it all or do so well for themselves. Abraham Lincoln. And it has some murals depicting the life of Abraham Lincoln from the time that he was a young man, self-educating, till the time he became president, the Civil War, and then Gettysburg Address. In my opinion, Abraham Lincoln was one of the most exceptional presidents we've had, and I just wonder, in today's political climate, if Abraham Lincoln were president, what kind of response would the media have with him? But I do have to say, he had his share of really nasty media. People attacking him, making these really horrible cartoons and such. So maybe nothing has changed in this country. Here to find the grave of Ernest Borgnine. I just realized I was sitting on a bench dedicated to Ernest Borgnine. 1917 to 2012. Much loved Dad and Grandpa, Nancy, Chris, Kim, Jeff, Anthony, and Vinny. So Abraham Lincoln is over here, and right over here we find the grave of Scatman Crothers. Scatman Crothers was well known for playing Louis the Garbage Man on the TV show Chico and the Man, which ran from 1974 to 1978. Born as Benjamin Sherman Crothers, during the 1930s he formed his own band, performing 5 days a week on a radio show in Dayton, Ohio. The station manager thought he needed a catchier name, so Crothers suggested Scatman for his scat scene. Here's the grave of David Carradine, a.k.a. John Arthur Carradine, 1936 to 2009, the barefoot legend. He will evermore be revered as one who popularized the spiritual values of the East in the West. Dancer, musician, artist, actor, producer, director, writer, composer, storyteller, poet, philosopher, aesthetist,
Academist, martial artist, master, teacher, kung fu, devoted and loving brother, husband, father, grandfather, great-grandfather, uncle, and friend. I'm looking for a place where dogs don't bite and children don't cry and everything always goes just right. And brothers don't fight. David Carradine.
David Carradine came from a family of actors, with his father, John Carradine, being a well-known character actor. His breakthrough role came in 1972 when he was cast in the iconic TV series Kung Fu. His portrayal of a wandering monk with martial arts skills captivated audiences and became a defining role of his career. His notable TV roles included Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2 and Death Race 2000.
I know that I often will relate to my childhood, but David Carradine was in a movie that was shot in my neck of the woods in Central California. It was Oakdale, California. He filmed along the railroad tracks. It was a movie about Woody Guthrie back in the 70s or early 80s, I believe. He also filmed in Knight's Ferry, and he's here. He died too young. He died foolishly. I'll let you look into that because it's kind of embarrassing.
The amazing thing about this cemetery is its tribute to history and its replica of historical buildings. This chapel is an exact replica of the historic Old North Church of Boston, made famous by Paul Revere's famous ride. The actual church was built in 1723, but this replica in 1965. Not far from the chapel is the grave of Tom Bosley, who was best known for his role as the kindly father Howard Cunningham in the TV series Happy Days. It ran from 1974 to 1984. Bosley also starred as Father Dowling in the Father Dowling Mysteries from 1989 to 1991 and appeared in films that included The World of Henry Orient in 1964. His warm and relatable screen presence made him a beloved figure in American TV until his death in 2010.
Man, when I was here in June, I don't know how I missed this grave. Maybe because I didn't know he was buried here, but Lee Van Cleef, bad man of Hollywood actors, he was actually in High Noon. He came to my neck of the woods. I always mention this. He was in High Noon. He was in a scene up there with Grace Kelly in Warnerville, the Warnerville tracks. And he was there in 1951 or 52. But he came to my county way before I was born. He's buried right here. Here's the grave of Lee Van Cleef. January 9th, 1925 to December 16th, 1989. Best of the bad, love and light. And somebody's left a penny on his grave.
Lee Van Cleef served in World War II and transitioned to acting in the 1950s, appearing in B movies and TV shows. His breakthrough came with spaghetti westerns that included For a Few Dollars More in 1965 and The Good, the Bad, the Ugly in 1966, where his distinctive sharp features and his cold demeanor made him an iconic villain. His 1984 TV series The Master lasted 13 episodes before it was canceled.
So now we're going to come into this section here, and we're going to find the grave of Strother Martin.
Strother Martin was a character actor best known for his ability to portray both villains and quirky side characters in a wide range of films and TV shows. He had an extensive career spanning over 3 decades. He also became known for his roles in films like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, True Grit, The Wild Bunch, and The Hunt for Red October, among others.
And I understand that the cremains of Lucille Ball were right in this space, a little bit over and down. Little known trivia. I believe they moved her remains back to her home state, New York. This may sound like a broken record, but Strother Martin came to Stockton, California to film those scenes for Cool Hand Luke. I actually did a video about that particular scene where he said,
"What we've got here is failure to communicate."
That line was uttered in the Delta, Stockton Delta, where they filmed the movie. A lot of people think that that movie was shot in Florida, but it wasn't.
Richard Farnsworth was unforgettable in the iconic 1982 movie The Gray Fox, but his acting career started when he made uncredited appearances in Gone with the Wind in 1939, Red River 1948, The Wild One 1953, and The Ten Commandments 1956. He had a role in the TV miniseries Roots and co-starred with Wilford Brimley and The Boys of Twilight in 1992. He received an Academy Award for his Best Supporting Actor nomination for the film of Comes a Horseman in 1978. His career breakthrough came when he starred as stagecoach robber Bill Miner in the 1982 Canadian film The Grey Fox.
And here's another of these stories about me seeing the celebrities. Richard Farnsworth played the Grey Fox in Straight Story, but he also came to my former hometown, Oakdale, California, for an Oakdale Rodeo Parade. I think it was, I wanted to say it was like late 80s, early 90s, but I shot a picture of him coming down the street, West F Street, and he looked right at my camera and he smiled and had that big bushy mustache. Unfortunately, Mr. Farnsworth was faced with a terminal illness and he decided to take his own life. Very sad ending to a wonderful career.
Alfred Broccoli was a British film producer best known for his work on the James Bond series. He co-produced the first Bond film, Dr. No, in 1962. He played a crucial role in shaping the Bond franchise into a global phenomenon, overseeing 17 Bond films until his death in 1983.
This is a very cool marker. Clyde Beatty, who was a lion tamer and a zoo and circus performer. And here we go with the crypt of Clyde Beatty. I always appreciate when they put their signatures on the marker. I'm assuming that's a signature and not just some kind of calligraphy font. 1902 to 1965, forever enshrined in our hearts.
Clyde Beatty was a renowned Hollywood animal trainer and circus mogul. He joined Howe's Great London Circus in 1921 as a cage boy and spent the next 4 decades rising to fame as one of the most famous circus performers and animal trainers in the world. He owned several circuses, including his own Clyde Beatty Circus from 1945 to 1956. It's said that he trained hippos, lions, bears, tigers, cougars, and hyenas, sometimes many brought together all at once in a single cage in a potentially lethal combination. He appeared in films from the 1930s to 1950s and on TV until the 1960s. He was also the star of his own syndicated radio series, The Clyde Beatty Show, from 1950 to 1952. The weekly programs featured adventures loosely based on his real-life exploits.
Here's the grave of Ernie Kovacs. I love it when they have signatures here. 1919 to 1962. Nothing in moderation. We all loved him. He was killed in a car crash.
Ernie Kovacs' visually experimental and often spontaneous comedic style influenced numerous TV comedy programs for years after his death. Percy Dove Tonsils was one of his invented fictional characters and remains as probably the best remembered of Kovacs' many TV incarnations.
I'm angry. Somebody slipped a brown martini in on me here. Or perhaps it's that sassy bartender using mascara again. That is tasty, isn't it? Oh, I pity the abstainer. Seems to be quite a bit missing.
Next to him is Mia Kovacs. I'm assuming that would be a daughter. Daddy's girl, we all loved her too. She died in 1982. And then next to her is Edie Adams.
Edie Adams was the second wife of Kovacs and was married to him when he died in a January 13, 1962 car crash in West Hollywood. He lost control of his station wagon and hit a pole and was ejected onto the pavement. A photographer arrived on scene and took images of Kovacs' body with an unlit cigar on the pavement near his outstretched hand, which appeared in newspapers across the country.
I remember her in It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. 1927 to 2008. I love it when they put their signatures in. I actually have a signed photo of her, but that probably doesn't surprise you, does it? And next to Edie Adams looks like Kippy Raleigh Kovacs, Ernie's beloved daughter, brave and beautiful, adored sister, mother, and friend. We all loved her. So she died in 2001. So I had to come back Saturday morning because I didn't get to find everybody that I wanted to find, and it's just opened 8 o'clock. I'm up traipsing on this hill trying to find the grave of Gail Davis, who was TV's Annie Oakley, and I found her. Took some doing, but here she is. Gail Davis Guerrero, TV's Annie Oakley. 1925 to 1997.
Hits the entertainment bullseye every week with her hard riding.
Josh, Annie, I don't see how you manage to hit it every time.
Well, it's easy, Tag. Once you learn to see just the bullseye and nothing else, then all you have to do is point your gun at it and pull the trigger.
That's all you have to do. Me, I hit everything but what I'm aiming at.
Well, that's because you're looking at everything.
Gail Davis initially appeared in small movie roles before landing the iconic role of Annie Oakley in 1954, where she became one of the first female TV action heroes. The series ended in 1957. She also appeared in an episode of The Andy Griffith Show.
Before I show you the next grave, I want to explain. I was a fan of the TV show Cannon back in the 70s.
Cannon, starring William Conrad.
This particular actor, we sent away for his autograph, and I got a nice autograph picture. It was actually a glossy picture of a sketch. And then my brother was kind of turned on to autograph collecting, and he also wrote to this individual. What he got back looked vastly different than the one that I got. Mine looked kind of authentic, his looked kind of forced. So I wrote a letter to this actor, and I said, hey, how come my brother got a different looking signed photo? The signature looked vastly different. So he wrote me this nice letter, handwritten letter, saying while he was away to New Zealand, that his staff thought they would help him out. And he said it was not right of them. And in any case, here's a picture for Jason. So at least he fessed up. He's the only actor I've ever known that fessed up to secretary signing it through the mail. This individual was William Conrad, who was a very large, rotund actor, lived from 1920 to 1994.
William Conrad was on the radio version of Gunsmoke, providing the voice of Marshal Matt Dillon, along with Harold McNair, who was Doc Adams, Parley Baer as Chester, and Georgia Ellis as Miss Kitty.
Found his grave here in the Lincoln section. So he's here at rest with David Carradine and I believe Ernest Borgnine. I didn't find his grave, but I found a bench, so I'm not sure if his cremains are here or kind of what the situation is with his grave.
So here it is, the grave of William Conrad, 1920 to 1994. Louis Tipton, Tippy Stringer Huntley Conrad, his wife, 1930 to 2010. So it looks like Mr. Conrad, even though he was a large guy, he lived until he was 74 years old. He probably would have lived longer if he had watched his weight. So I had to come for quite a walk through this terraced area here to find the grave location of Paul Walker, who was a very young actor who unfortunately died stupidly, driving a car recklessly and catching on fire. A very horrific death. Star of Fast and Furious.
Nice car. What's the retail on one of those?
More than you can afford, pal.
Smoke.
Unfortunately, like a lot of young men who value speed and cars, they end up like this. He's buried here. And as you can see, some fans have really left some flowers for him.
Paul Walker was born in 1973 and died in 2013. He became popular due to his portrayal of a cool, charismatic FBI agent turned street racer to help define the action film genre of the 2000s. Beyond Fast and Furious, Paul had a solid career in action and drama films like Into the Blue and Timeline. His tragic death in a car crash at the age of 40 had a lasting impact on his fans, cementing his legacy as an iconic figure in Hollywood. The grave of Jerry Hatten Bus stopped me in my tracks. He was a businessman, investor, chemist, and philanthropist. He was the majority owner of the LA Lakers when they won 10 league champions in the 1980s.
I like the statue, and I like the fact that he was a devoted family man. Such a beautiful morning here. Nestled up next to the hills, Hollywood Hills. I found the grave of Marty Feldman, 1934 to 1982. He's known for his bug-eye appearance, a lot of comedic roles. And according to Loretta, he made us laugh. He took my pain away. I love you, Loretta.
In 1974, Marty Feldman appeared as Igor in Mel Brooks' Young Frankenstein, for which he received the first Saturn Award for Best Supporting Actor. He died in 1982 of a heart attack while filming Yellowbeard in Mexico City. He was just 48 years old.
Now I'm off to see if I can find the grave or a crypt or remains niche of Aaron Carter, who was a popular musician, died very young. So we find him, I guess he was cremated, and his remains are interred on this wall.
Aaron Charles Carter was a famous teen pop singer in the late 1990s. Carter began performing at the age of 7 after the formation of his brother Nick's group, the Backstreet Boys, and released his self-titled debut album in 1997 at the age of 9, selling 1 million copies worldwide. His second album, Aaron's Party, in 2000, sold 3 million copies in the U.S., and Carter began making guest appearances on Nickelodeon. He toured with the Backstreet Boys shortly after the record's release. Carter's next album, Oh Aaron, also went platinum, and in 2002 he released what would be his last studio album for over 15 years, Another Earthquake, followed by his 2003 Most Requested Hits collection. Blacklisted, which was his 6th album, was released 2 days after his accidental drug-related death in 2022.
So since Aaron cannot read his mail anymore, I'll take the liberty to... Oh my gosh. There's a lot of names there of fans. So this next actor is one of my favorites on the Andy Griffith Show. He played the mayor, really uptight, by the rules mayor in this small town where rules didn't really apply because everything was, people conducted their lives in such a way that you didn't need a lot of rules. And the mayor was just kind of justifying his own existence, but it's his manner of speech that really intrigues me. Absolutely disgusting. Parley Baer, right here. He was also into radio before television came along. He's right here at my feet.
Parley Edward Baer was an American actor in radio and later in TV and film. He remains best known as the original Chester in the radio version of Gunsmoke and as Mayor Roy Stoner in the Andy Griffith Show. He also played Arthur J. Henson in The Addams Family as the mayor, an insurance executive, and as the city controller. Curiously, he started his career as a circus ringmaster and publicist. He left those roles for military service in World War II. However, in the 1950s, he had a job training wild animals at Jungle Land USA in Thousand Oaks. Buried by his side is wife Elizabeth Clark Baer, whom he met during his circus career. A fifth-generation circus star, she rode bareback in the circus ring and was a flying trapeze artist.
Found Charles Laughton up here, famous Hollywood actor from the 30s and 40s, I believe.
Charles Laughton played a wide range of classical and modern movie roles. His career took him to Broadway and then Hollywood, where he portrayed everything from monsters and misfits to kings. He earned the Academy Award for Best Actor for his title role in the historical drama The Private Life of Henry VIII, 1933. He was also Oscar nominated for his role as Captain William Bligh in the action adventure Mutiny on the Bounty in 1935 with Clark Gable.
Casting me adrift 3,500 miles from a pot of coal, you're sending me to my doom, eh?
The Columbarium of Valor is where we're going to find Leon Ames, who is a very well-known actor in the 40s. And you come up here by Gazelle, the statue of Gazelle. Let's stop and look at her first. And you'll find him right over here.
Leon Ames became famous playing father figures in such films as Meet Me in St. Louis, Little Women, On Moonlight Bay, and By the Light of the Silvery Moon. His best-known dramatic role may have been in the crime film The Postman Always Rings Twice.
Here's Nudie Cohn, who is a famous Western clothes designer, and his wife, Bobby.
Nudie Cohn was a Ukrainian-American tailor who designed decorative rhinestone-covered suits, known popularly as nudie suits, and other elaborate outfits for some of the most famous celebrities of his era, including Elvis and Hank Williams Sr. He also became famous for his outrageous customized vehicles. Cohn opened Nudies of Hollywood on the corner of Victory Boulevard and Vineland Avenue in North Hollywood, dealing exclusively in Western wear, a style much in fashion at the time.
So, Noah Beery Jr., TV star, movie star. I found it by this trash enclosure here, but he's right here, and look at this. Wow. Noah L. Beery. My love, my life, I miss you, Lisa. Born August 10th, 1913. He died 1994. Wow.
Noah Beery often specialized in warm, friendly character roles similar to many portrayed by his Oscar-winning uncle, Wallace Beery. After a long movie career, he turned to a TV role that he's probably best known for playing, that of Rocky Rockford in the NBC TV series The Rockford Files from 1974 to 1980.
So, Rufe Davis, who was a popular entertainer from the 1950s and I think 1960s, and I believe he was on Petticoat Junction, but he is on this wall overlooking Hollywood and Burbank. I had to look for him because he's 4 up.
Rufe Davis appeared in more than 30 films between 1937 and 1969, including 14 of the Three Musketeers titles. Davis played railroad conductor Floyd Smoot on the CBS TV series Petticoat Junction from 1963 to 1968, and in a 1970 guest appearance.
So I do have to say that Rufe Davis has an amazing view of the entertainment center of Southern California. Disney's down here, I think WB's down here. A lot of studios are down here. So if you look at the top, it's the mausoleum or the crypt area where Betty Davis is. The statue in front is Betty Davis. And if you come down the hill here, you will see the grave of Michael, George, and Sarah, 1922 to 2013. Most precious, beloved husband, best dad, loving son, brother, and uncle. Forever grows my love for you, yet deeper still, beyond all knowing. It's signed, Your Beverly.
Michael Ansara was married to Barbara Eden from 1958 to 1974, and they had one son together, Matthew. Ansara was known for roles in Broken Arrow and as Kang in Star Trek. He also appeared in several episodes of his wife's sitcom, I Dream of Jeannie, playing various characters.
I beg your pardon? Yes. Kamehameha Nui, raise army, free his people.
Unfortunately, their son Matthew died in 2001 from a drug overdose at the age of 35.
Last of the Mohicans.
Go scout French camp.
It was sure nice riding with you this far.
Of course not.
So I just want to point something out. I am pretty close to the bottom of the cemetery. Over there is ABC Studios. And right here in the shade of the tree is Jimmy W. Dodd, 1910 to 1964, beloved Christian husband. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven, Matthew 5:16. Those of you who watched Mickey Mouse Club in the 1950s may remember Jimmy Dodd.
Dodd had an extensive background in music and had worked as a songwriter, composing songs for various projects.
There was a hill.
There was a hill.
I said there was a hill.
I said there was a hill.
The prettiest little hill.
The prettiest little hill.
In the middle of the ground.
In the middle of the ground.
A hill in the ground, and the green grass grew all around, the green grass grew all around, and on the...
His most notable songwriting was the theme song for the Mickey Mouse Club, including the well-known opening tune of
Here's one of my favorite thoughts. The words of a great man, Etienne de Grelais. Listen. I expect to pass through life but once. If, therefore, there be any kindness I can show, or any good thing I can do to any fellow being, let me do it now and not defer or neglect it, as I shall not pass this way again.
After the Mickey Mouse Club ended in 1959, Dodd appeared in such westerns as Thundering Trail with Bob Steele. He also made appearances on The Ed Sullivan Show and was a guest on game shows. Dodd died of cancer in 1964 at the age of 54.
I can't help but wonder if I'm related to him because my grandparents were Dodds as well. I believe the lineage is from Scotland. It's kind of been a frustrating exercise finding some of these graves because they just mowed and the dead grass has been left on some of the markers, and when you get the moisture in the ground mixed with it, it's just like a mat of grass that covers the markers, and I've had to sweep away some, and I had to actually pull some weeds off of Jimmy Dodd's grave just so that I can give you a good shot of it. But that's one of the pitfalls of photographing and videotaping graves. I said videotaping, that's an old term, somebody told me. Videoing graves or recording graves. I'm not even sure if videoing is a word anymore, but it may be. They're constantly creating new words. One more grave to show you. Arnold the Pig. Yes, Arnold the Pig from, what is that, Green Acres. Remember the pig? Well, when he died, they cremated the pig. The cremains of the pig were kept until the trainer of the pig passed away, and buried with him is the pig. So we're going to go find his grave. So after a while of searching here, I found the grave of Frank Freeman, aka Frank N., 1916 to 2002. And I read at one point, at his heaviest, he weighed like 400 pounds. He was a native of Indiana, and he was known for wearing his Santa Claus beard and his captain's hat. That was his trademark. But he was an early Hollywood animal trainer, and he trained a number of dogs. For example, the dog that was on My Three Sons. He also is known for training the pig Arnold for the TV series Green Acres that starred Zsa Zsa Gabor and Eddie Albert.
Lately, he's been striking out with a girl. He says a sexy aftershave lotion might help.
Well, this is the one I use.
Arnold says no, thank you. He's seen the kind of girls you get.
So I do have to say this is probably the first time in my life that I've ever visited the grave of a pig. A famous pig nonetheless. A pig that gave a lot of enjoyment to TV audiences back when I was growing up as a kid. Arnold the pig, buried here. Of course, that's not on the marker, but things that you learn on History Hunters. By the way, have you subscribed yet? And do you watch my videos? That's the important thing. A lot of people subscribe, but just a small percentage watch the videos, which does me absolutely no good if you're not watching. Just to let you know, if you want to support us, that's what you need to do. Thanks.